sure you've already seen the thumbnail and read the title. We are making a wig today. We're going to be starting off with these little wig caps. These are the spandex dome caps that I love. This one fits my head like a glove. My head is a size 21 inch. And this one, it fits so perfect. There's no like lumps or looseness in the back. I absolutely love it. I get it from Amazon. I also get the canvas hair from Amazon. It's a size 21. This is the closure that we're going to be using. Really pretty. Today we're working with WESTKISS. They sent over this 20-inch 13x4 lace closure. It's Brazilian straight. I have not bleached the knots. I'm going to be doing that in part 2 of this video. Really pretty. I also wanted to show off the hair really quickly, and this is also the Brazilian straight hair. I believe this is a 26, 26, 28, 28. It doesn't look that long on camera right here, but when you see the end result, or if you've seen the beginning clips, you know that it's super long. So if you want to go ahead and seal your wefts, grab a bottle of Fray Check and go ahead and do that before you start this process, because we are going to be cutting our wefts. Again, this is a canvas blockhead that I got from Amazon. As you can see, is in bold at the bottom with the label that says it's 21 inches. I also got these T-pins from Amazon, and I'm going to go ahead and use them to secure the closure onto the dome cap. I like for this to be super neat and aligned with the cap, but the way the camera is set up and I'm set up, I'm at the side, so as you can see it's pretty crooked. So I'm going to go ahead and fix it off camera. I went ahead and fixed it and aligned it perfectly to the center of the cap, and I secured it with about 4 or 5 T-pins, 2 in the front and I believe it's 3 at the top, and you'll see in the next angle that it is perfectly aligned. With closures, I don't put the closure ahead of the cap. I make it perfectly aligned, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to take a needle and thread. Use whatever thread is comfortable for you. I typically like nylon. I believe this is some cotton thread, so it kind of gave me a hard time, but I absolutely love nylon thread, and can you believe I went through a whole large spool of it? So I have to go to Sally's and pick up another one. I probably just ordered some from Amazon because that's super convenient. But we're going to just go ahead and loop this thread through to secure the closure onto the dome cap. Close together is pretty much best so that you don't find that your closure will like bulk up, or you know, it'll just lay perfectly flat. I don't have the most professional technique. I just do what works for me. Again, I do try to make it close together, but some days I'm just like, you know what, let's just get through it, and I don't do as close. But for you guys, I try to do as close as possible. Now, one thing that I do sometimes is with the closures, I will sew the length all the way to the top, cut the thread and form a knot, remake my needle and thread, and then thread across as I'm doing here, and then cut. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but basically I'll make 3 separate stitches to make sure that this lays flat. This time around I'm only going to do 2. So I went up the left side, I went across the top, and then at the end of the top I'm going to stop, and you're going to see that I'm going to cut. Oh, Daddy's home. So switch the angles, took the baby, and I'm going to finish the top. And once we get over here to this end, I'm going to go ahead and form a knot and cut it. Sometimes I find that when I sew around all 3 sides of this closure, it'll bulk up a little bit. So it's best to do, like I said, cut it and then start over at the next section. And this is going to ensure that it has a space to not bulk up. And then once you're done, check your work, you can go ahead and take the hair down and like comb through it and look at the lace, like part off through it, and make sure that it is laying perfectly flat. Usually that shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to take my first 28-inch bundles. Now I stitch my bundles onto my wig cap so many different ways, to be honest. Whatever day is what I'm feeling is what I'm feeling. But this technique seems to work best for me. So as you can see, I'm just going to go, I'm kind of showing you the pattern that I want to do. I kind of want to put like a whole bundle in the very back so that it's super full. You guys know that when you like part your hair down the center and like bring each side to the front, like to lay across your chest, I hate when it's like kind of loose or it just feels like there's not a lot of hair at the nape and it kind of just looks spaced at the back. I hate that. I like when it's very full in the back and it looks good from behind. It just looks very healthy and full all together. So I'm kind of just doing a loop and pull type of situation. I loop it around and it makes for a nice stitch. I usually wear my wigs for probably 2 weeks max before I switch it out, whatever my daily wig is. So as you can kind of see that I am kind of spacing it apart. If you are going to be wearing your wig for more than 2 weeks, like weeks or months, I definitely would recommend that you do it closer together. Because I know back in the day before I was a hair reviewer, I have no shame in my game. I used to wear my wigs for like 6 months straight. Not proud to say that, but you know, I was on a budget. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, I kept it washed, I kept it clean. You know, I did what I had to do, but you know, when you make your hair stretch, you gotta make sure that you make your wig very, 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 very secure. So, as you can see, I'm doing these bundles back here close together. I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up because you kind of seen how I did the first track. And something that I do is you can see here that first needle and thread that I did, it lasted for like 2 or 3 full tracks. I don't cut the thread at the end of each track. When it meets the other end, I just kind of wait till I get over there and I add another track. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But you see how I'm getting to the end of this weft. I'm going to go ahead and sew this last stitch, and I do try to make sure I pull the tracks taut, very tight, that way they're not bulking when I put the wig on. But you see I'm at the very end, so I'm going to go ahead and knot that, and then I'm going to move or stitch up to basically start a new row, but I'm not going to cut that needle and thread because there's so much left. It's no point in, you know, cutting it and starting over. Just keep it going to the next row until it's out, and then that's when you cut it and start a new needle and thread situation, if that makes any sense. But you see here, I'm starting a new row of tracks, but I didn't start a new needle and thread. I'm just taking it from the last row behind and moving up. A great thing about this also is that when you know, like back in the day when I used to make my wigs, I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes you have a track that would come up. This is going to make sure that doesn't happen because I'm not starting a new needle and thread every single row. It's coming from the row below, so there's no chance of it coming up at the ends. And because I'm starting a new needle and thread in the center, it's not going to come up. This wig, you can wear it every day for the next 6 months, and you won't find that your you know, your tracks will come up, which is perfect. So this is very tedious. You're going to see in this video that I did have on probably about 3 different outfits because I do have kids, and usually I do the hot glue gun method because if I do this at the wrong time of the day, they just are not having it. So usually I do this at nighttime. I would say honestly, like I will put the kids to bed, turn on Netflix, and I'll let a series go, and I'll just work, and usually it'll take me maybe about 2.5 to 3 hours. Depending on how much hair I'm going to be using. This time around I did use a full 4 bundles. A frontal makes this so much easier because when I use a frontal, I usually will do about 2 to 2.5 bundles. The longer lengths you go, the more hair you'll need. So since we're using 28 today, we definitely needed 4, especially because there's a closure. I probably could have even used 5 because of how full I did the back. But again, make sure that you do the back super full and then kind of stretch the next or the rest of the bundles out evenly so that your tracks are not too spaced, but there is more weight in the back than there is in the front because you don't want the top to be super bulky, if that makes any sense. So once you get to the top, make sure you do have like a whole track ready to go. I'm sorry, a whole bundle ready to go. That way you know for sure you won't run out. But I did use pretty much every all the hair, all 4 bundles. And I hope that this is making sense. I know that for me, I'm very visual, so no matter how I explain it, if you just look and follow along, you can kind of see what's going on. I've reached the end of this track. I went ahead and knotted, moved it out of the way while I went ahead and checked my work. It's great to check your work and just see what you're doing, making sure everything is going in the right angle, nothing is flawed, everything is to your liking. This is the last little piece of that. I believe this is my second bundle. So we're not going to waste any tracks. We're going to go ahead and use that little piece right there and just stitch it across. When you have like pieces this long, go ahead and use it, even if you save it for the top. This is a 28-inch piece and my top is going to be 26, so I wouldn't necessarily put this at the top, but you know, if I wasn't going to use it, I would save it and put it to the side just in case I run out of hair. And a rule of thumb is if you do run out of hair, go to the back and take a couple tracks out. We've all done it before. We've all made that mistake of not using enough hair in the top, and you got to go back and get you a couple pieces, or you can just go ahead and go online and order another bundle or two if you have time. So I believe this is my third track. And I'm just going to take it and we're going to start marrying the back to the front. Again, this is just one of the many techniques I use. I kind of like this technique a lot because it allowed me to put quite a bit of hair in the back without bringing all of that thickness to the front, if that makes any sense. And feel free to sew however you like. This loop and pull method I use, I love a whole lot. It just makes the tracks feel neat and uniformed. The only thing is, like I said before, I do space it out a little bit, and this helps, number one, to save time. And as long as you're pulling the thread super tight, you can see it looks pretty neat. It's not going to bulk up, and keep the hair or the track super tight as well, and it all works out perfectly. So I know this is repetitive at this point, and I do skip through a little bit, but I just kind of want you guys to see what's going on, because I know for me, I'm a fast learner, but I learn visually. Like if you tell me how to do something, I probably won't get it, but if you show me how to do it, I got it. So I'm showing you, basically we're going to just go up with the tracks. These are two options. You can lay the tracks to go flat along the sides, or you can lay them like this, and this is how it'll go. So make sure that you pay attention to that part. I decided to go with the first option, and I kind of fast forward through, but I'm on my very last track and I've made it to the end. I kind of like it best when the tracks lay this way, because whenever I part the closure, it's just going to cover so perfect. When you do it the opposite way, or the other option that I showed you guys, the tracks kind of go towards the closure, and I've definitely done that quite a few times, and you can make that work. There goes my son. You can make that work and it'll still lay flat. I've done that technique many times, but this is just a more seamless, like if the wind blows, if you part it, do a side part, and it kind of shows, you don't see a bunch of tracks facing the same way, you know what I mean? You just see one track going down, so it kind of looks a little bit more neat. But these are the things you want to think about, you know, before you start, and as you go along, make sure that it's working for you. So we finally have finished the wig, and usually this is my favorite part when I'm finally done sewing the wig, but there definitely is still more work to be done. Like at this point, you can't just throw the wig on and walk out the house. So I take down the closure. I use my Tangle Teaser to really brush the hair out, because we did cut all of our tracks. Look how beautiful that hair looks. This is 4 bundles of 28 in a closure, and it looks so good. I haven't put any product, I haven't co-washed, I haven't bleached any knots. It looks amazing. But go ahead and brush and detangle the hair. It did need to be detangled, but you go ahead and brush it since you did cut all your tracks. Go ahead and cut, because you know how you get that little piece at the end of your closure when you use a 4x4. Cut that out. Cut any excess needle and thread. You can cut off your lace as well. I'm going to give it a nice second brush, just again because I did cut those wefts and I don't want it to be shedding. So that's the inside of my work. This wig is going to lay super flat, but first I have to cut out the excess cap. Always cut out the cap that lays directly beneath your closure, whether using a closure or frontal, so that your scalp and that frontal will meet, or your wig cap in my case. I went ahead and measured out a little piece of elastic and I added it on and I put the wig on and I made a little bit of baby hair. You guys see when I cut the lace it already came with baby hair, so I just trimmed it to about 1/2 inch and swooped it up really quickly. I did run the flat iron through it, and that's pretty much all I did. I just made the baby hair with what was provided, cut it down a little bit shorter. I used my beeswax to go ahead and swoop the baby hair. I didn't want to use the Got to Be Glue today. And then I just straightened it really quickly. I didn't do a silk press, I just ran the flat iron through it so that a little bit of the crimp would come out. Now I'm adding powder because I did not bleach the knots, and it's all going to blend perfectly. This wig is super full, super bone straight. It has an amazing luster. I did add a little bit of my Care Silk and Sheen, but that's about it. Hope you loved this video. Thank you, WESTKISS, for sending this hair over. I am going to be bleaching it a really pretty color. I'm thinking of doing some blonde and brown highlights, so kind of mixing it up and doing different color browns and blondes. Don't know if that makes sense, but make sure that you're tuned in, turn on your post notifications, and subscribe because that video is coming soon. I love this hair. All the information is in the description bar. Links to everything I talked about is in the description bar. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.